What if being different wasn't your weakness, it was your secret weapon? Meet Peter Snakebite Wright, the dart star who refused to blend in. Wild mohawks, neon outfits, even swapping darts mid-match. Critics labeled him a clown, but fans saw a legend in the making. Insiders dismissed him, certain he'd fade away. Yet Wright doubled down, turning criticism into fuel, his quirks into a championship formula. How did this misunderstood outsider defy every expectation to become a two-time world champion? To truly grasp his rise from overlooked amateur to darts icon, you have to start at a place nobody expected greatness, where almost no one was watching. If Peter Wright teaches us anything, it's that the key to greatness lies within our true selves. When we hide who we are, the world will never see our potential, just like we might never have seen Peter Wright. What greatness are you hiding from the world? If you're bold enough, leave a comment sharing what's holding you back. Imagine walking into a smoky pub in the 90s and seeing a young Peter Wright at the oche. No wild hair, no crazy outfits, just a quiet guy throwing darts after a long day as a builder and tyre fitter.
His opponent is the relatively unknown Peter Wright from Lowestoft in Suffolk. He plays in the Lowestoft Super League, in fact, and when he's not playing darts, he likes to go weight training. And it really was a tremendous contest.
Nobody in that room would have believed he'd one day become a two-time world champion. He had talent, sure, but in the 1990s dart world, talent wasn't enough. It was a tight, traditional scene where outsiders didn't last. In 1995, Peter took a chance and qualified for the BDO World Championship. His first round opponent? Richie Burnett, who went on to win the entire tournament. Wright lost 3-1 and left the stage unnoticed, outplayed and forgotten. And that might have been it. For nearly 10 years, Peter disappeared. No secret training montages, just real life. Long hours fixing tyres, supporting his family and throwing darts in local pubs, not arenas. The dream? It was fading. Then came Joanne. She didn't just believe in Peter, she reignited the fire. In 2007, after watching a televised darts match, Peter told her, "I think I can beat these guys." She said, "Then prove it." He stopped playing it safe and started playing to stand out. No more hiding, no more blending in. This was the moment Peter Wright began becoming Snakebite. Peter Wright's transformation into Snakebite was never about show for show's sake. When he returned to the darts circuit, he made a choice to be unmistakable. Out went the short black hair and plain shirts. In came the neon mohawk, wild outfits, and a new energy that demanded attention. The look wasn't just flair, it was rebellion. A signal that Wright wasn't here to play by anyone else's rules. The change didn't happen overnight. Joanne, his wife and a professional hairdresser, became his backstage artist. She spent hours crafting his mohawk before each match, sometimes painting a snake down his scalp, other times patterns inspired by their daughter Jessie. Everything was intentional. The wild trousers, the matching shirts. This wasn't just a look, it was a full-on identity built with love, expression and defiance. But it wasn't just for the cameras. Wright has always battled nerves and shyness. He once said, "I equate my look to applying war paint before battle." Snakebite wasn't a costume, it was armor. The colors, the hair, the flash, it gave him permission to show up as someone bigger, bolder, braver. Not everyone loved it. Critics, some of them elite players like Van Gerwen and Adrian Lewis, scoffed.
Yeah, it is difficult, because like in the beginning, people, you guys would just, you used to say to me, he's just a clown.
Commentators called him a clown. Traditionalists rolled their eyes, saying he was disrespecting the game. But Wright didn't flinch. He wasn't trying to win over the insiders, he was connecting with the fans. And it worked. Arenas were filled with kids dyeing their hair like his. Fans wore replica outfits, painted their faces and cheered like never before. Wright had tapped into something deeper, something darts hadn't seen before. Personality, confidence, permission to stand out. And that's the real takeaway. Peter Wright didn't just create a character, he gave people permission to express theirs too. His journey is proof that you don't need to fit in to be great. You don't need to hide your quirks or blend into the crowd. If you've ever felt like the odd one out, take this as your sign. The moment you stop hiding and start owning who you are. That's when everything changes. Just like Peter Wright, your different might be your greatest strength. Because Snakebite didn't rise to the top by conforming, he rose by refusing to. Some players get known for their walk-on music or a signature celebration. Peter Wright became famous for something far stranger, his relentless tinkering. In a sport built on repetition and routine, he stood out as the mad scientist of darts. While most pros swear by a single setup, same weight, same flight, same stems, Wright treated every match like a lab experiment. He was always chasing the perfect feel, even if it meant switching it up mid-match. Wright's approach was anything but traditional. He rolled into tournaments with a dart bag that looked like a toolbox, dozens of sets with subtle differences. Need more control? Heavier barrel. Need more speed? Lighter setup. He tested in warm-ups, tweaked during practice, and if it didn't feel right in the heat of battle, boom, new set right there on stage. That happened during the 2019 World Championship. Fourth round, big pressure. Wright didn't like his darts, so he swapped them mid-match. The crowd was stunned, but for Snakebite it was just business as usual. Now here's where it gets wild in the best way. While the darts elite clutched their pearls over tradition, Wright rewrote the rules. Critics said he was overthinking it. Commentators said he lacked consistency. But Snakebite wasn't playing by the old playbook. He was creating a new one where adaptability beats rigidity, and instinct trumps expectation. He made it impossible to game plan against him. No two matches ever looked the same. One night he was throwing with pinpoint finesse, the next he was overpowering the board. He kept everyone guessing, including himself. That unpredictability? It wasn't a bug, it was the feature. And let's be honest, we've all felt the pressure to find your thing and stick with it. But Wright showed us that your thing can be growth, it can be evolution, it can be refusing to settle. He gave all of us, especially fans who don't fit the mold, permission to tinker with who we are until it finally feels right. When he lifted the Sid Waddell trophy in 2020, it was more than a win. It was a mic drop to every critic who said he was too weird, too flashy, too inconsistent. He proved that you don't have to pick between identity and greatness, you can have both. So, if you're sitting on the edge of trying something new, whether it's a new setup or a whole new direction, let Snakebite be your green light. The people who change the game aren't afraid to break it first. Peter Wright didn't just win on his own terms, he changed the terms entirely. His rise to becoming a two-time world champion was anything but traditional. It was chaotic, colourful, unconventional, and completely legendary. A journey full of setbacks, self-reinvention, and moments where any ordinary player would have quit. But Wright isn't ordinary. He's living proof that when you reject the script, you can write your own legacy. The first big test came in 2014. Wright made it to the PDC World Championship final against a 24-year-old phenom Michael van Gerwen. The hair was loud, the trousers louder, but under the lights, Wright's nerves showed. He lost 7-4. It hurt, and the critics sharpened their knives. All flash, no fire, they said. But Peter didn't fold. He didn't tone it down, he turned it up. He doubled down on being different. He trained harder, experimented more, and leaned even further into his unique style. The mohawk evolved, the trousers popped, and his darts game sharpened like never before. Then came the moment, 2020 World Championship Final. Once again face-to-face with Van Gerwen. But this time, Wright was the storm. Calm, controlled, adaptable. He didn't just compete, he took over. He outplayed the world number 1 7-3, lifting the Sid Waddell trophy at age 49. A decade after the world laughed, Snakebite stood at the top. His way had worked. And he wasn't done. In 2022, he battled Michael Smith in one of the most intense finals ever. Down 4-3, on the ropes, match darts coming at him. But Wright did what only he could do. He adjusted, he refocused, and he came back swinging. Final score, 7-5, champion again. Then came the crown jewel. March 2022, at 51 years old, Peter Wright became the PDC world number 1 for the first time, making him the oldest first-time number 1 in darts history. He didn't peak early, he peaked authentically. By now, the world had no choice but to see him for what he truly was, a disruptor, a trailblazer, and a champion who never let the mold define him. Peter Wright made us all rethink what greatness looks like. He made us believe that being different isn't a disadvantage, it's a superpower. He showed us that the path to the top doesn't have to be clean, it just has to be yours. So if you're waiting for permission to stand out, to take a risk, to bet on yourself, this is it. Peter Wright broke every rule and he won anyway. Why not you? Peter Wright's story shows what's possible when you turn doubt into fuel. He didn't let mockery define him. He turned his mohawks, wild outfits, and constant dart swaps into the very things that made him unstoppable. 2 world titles, 48 PDC trophies, a legacy built not by fitting in, but by standing out. So, now it's your turn. What's your snakebite moment waiting to happen? Drop a comment and tell us how you're embracing your own weird, bold, authentic edge. We read every one. And if you're here to be more than average, hit that subscribe button. Be bold, be different, and most importantly, be authentically you.